Welcome to the Shift Your Reality podcast. I'm Kubra, a spiritual artist, intuitive astrologer, and coach. I channel paintings that help you hold space for your emotions, navigate them, and reconnect with your self-worth. Join me on this journey to self-actualization and discover the power within. Hello everyone, welcome to the Shift Your Reality podcast. This is your host Kura, and today I have another amazing guest that is gonna share awesome things with you. Hello Sarah, welcome. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well on this fine morning, but I'm pretty sure it's afternoon where you are.
Yeah, it is. And I'm so excited for this call because your questions are very popular in the society in these days, because everyone is trying to manifest their dream version, their dream life, dream job, this or that. And it is really important to understand the basics and receive this information from an expert. So we are the lucky ones and looking forward to hear more about you and your expertise. But before, let's dive into the you part and who you are, what you do in your terms. Do you like traveling, or I don't know, what are your values? I'm curious about knowing more about you.
Well, I couldn't agree more that everyone wants to manifest things in abundance. That's kind of why I leaned into this work to begin with, because it seemed like a common thread, especially among the spiritual communities. So yes, I definitely agree with that. And yeah, my name is Sara Rae, and I host the Spiritually Inspired podcast. Been doing that for 4 years now, and it's one of my favorite things to do. I love it. I'm all about exploring mindfulness, manifesting, and magic, and pretty much anything that's in that new age realm. I do love to travel. However, I have 2 little kids at home, so that's taken a back burner over the last couple of years, but that's fine. Like, they're just little, and we're just living life day by day with those little guys. I have a 3-year-old preschooler and then an infant baby, which is keeping me busy for sure. But my main values are living spiritually inspired every day, like being connected to God or the universe or the source of all there is, whatever you want to call it, like having that be my guiding force every single day, always connecting back to that light, and it being a huge part of my life has been that way for a long time, like ever since I was a teenager. I originally started my path in the Lutheran Church, if you're familiar, which is a branch of Catholicism, and eventually kind of found my way to more new age topics and more spiritual freedom in that way. And I've kind of been talking about that ever since. So I would say my biggest personal value is just kind of being in alignment with the love and the light, and making sure I spread that love and the light as in any way that I can to people who are willing to accept it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Actually, what you shared is so important to understand. Manifestation is also about alignment, and you're going to dive
Yes.
into it in detail, and I cannot wait for it. Are you ready to go through the questions?
I've never been more ready in my whole life.
Oh, wow. Let's do that then. So, what is the biggest myth about manifesting and law of attraction?
Yeah, okay. This is such a great question because I made it up myself, but it's a great question because it is like such a cornerstone to how I teach manifesting. The biggest myth about manifesting is that you do it. If that makes sense. Like, people they want to learn manifesting like you would learn exercise, or like you would learn something that you just like get up and do, like a chore item, when that's not really the case. People don't often realize that you're always manifesting. You're never not manifesting. You're never not creating something with the universe. So when we talk about manifesting, it's just kind of a shortened phrase of mindful manifesting or manifesting on purpose, because you're either doing it intentionally, which is what I teach people to do, or you're doing it unintentionally, and it's just kind of on autopilot. You're just kind of more reactive in that way. So the law of attraction in general is never, ever not in motion. And this is like mind blowing. And for a lot of people, just to realize right off the bat, is that you can work with the law of attraction intentionally or unintentionally, but regardless, it's always in motion. It's always working, whether you're intentional about it or not. It's always happening.
Yeah, this is a very beautiful expression of it actually, because well, I work with a technique called Unison that I created actually.
Yes.
And in this technique, what I say, we all channel information from the parallel timelines, and if we do it consciously, we call ourselves as psychics. But if we do it unconsciously and if we create patterns, then we just become victims of it, or we turn ourselves into victims, or this kind of things. And that thing that I was mentioning in my classes is the key of manifestation as well, because if you don't sort out your emotions, if you don't embrace them and don't know how to navigate towards these emotional turmoils, you cannot even focus on what you want to manifest sometimes. And yeah, I'm gonna contemplate on that, and I really like that these two subjects are coming together.
Absolutely. I love that. I often find that a lot of spiritual teachers, professionals like yourself and myself, we teach a lot of the same things just in different ways, like different words. And it's just all about whatever resonates with the audience or the clients. Like maybe it's a similar concept, but they resonate with your technique more than mine or whatever it works. And that's really beautiful. What you just described is what I call a manifesting ceiling, where you're always kind of butting up against it because you can only do so much with what you currently have, with what your current energy is right now. So yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you brought out that the difference between being mind and doing mind. We try to manifest things from a doing mind all the time, but actually we just need to exist and call in whatever we would like to alchemize into our lives. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to listen to the next questions, because in reality, I don't teach or talk about manifestation, but somehow they resonate. That's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm very similar, where I don't necessarily like target psychic skills, but they come up, and it's kind of all one package. It's about being holistic in your spiritual practices.
Yeah, definitely. So shall we proceed to the second one?
Yeah. Yes. The one that everyone wants to know.
Okay, yeah, I think many people will be curious about that one. What are the best manifesting techniques according to you?
Yeah. So this is the age old question, like kind of circling back to the first one. It relates to like what people perceive as being the law of attraction or what manifesting is. They're like, what do I do to manifest? Like I've even been asked, like, how often should I manifest? Which is kind of like an oxymoron question, right? But what they're meaning is, what can I actually do to change my energy, to change what the law of attraction is bringing into my life? So manifesting techniques, in quotes, like different ways that you can change your energy so you can change what you're manifesting. Affirmations is a great place to start for the majority of people. They physically rewire your brain. Like they actually like do things in your physical brain, and so that you are changing your energy that way. In the same regard, visualization or vision boards are really powerful as well, because as you might know, and as your audience might know, your brain, your subconscious can't really differentiate between what's real and what's out there versus what's in here. So when you recite affirmations, when you visualize, when you have vision boards, you're subconsciously absorbing new information, new energy, and that's going to create a ripple effect outwards. So those are really great places to start. Kind of building an advancement, if you will, is journaling or scripting. It's very similar to visualization, but it's kind of more hands-on, where you can be like, oh, I wake up in the morning and I'm really happy I'm in my beautiful house, and you would keep going like that sort of scripting. Man, yes, exactly. And it's that one can be a lot of fun, because then you're like kind of narrating your own life, and I've always enjoyed that. Maybe you would as well. So that sort of thing, it's all about rewiring the brain. And then, of course, other manifesting techniques that aren't as sexy, in my opinion. Pretty much anything that could fall in alignment with goal setting. Goal setting is very, very valuable. So there's SMART goals. There's lots of ways that you can go about achieving a goal. And they are really powerful manifesting techniques. But the difference is that a goal is very pass or fail, right? You either achieve the goal or you don't. But in manifesting, there's a little bit more wiggle room for magic. So if you follow those those mindset changes like affirmations and visualization. And then you also go about the goal setting techniques. In the end, you're going to end up with something really awesome, but you want to keep the doors open so that the universe can co-create as well. So your anything goal setting is really excellent as long as you keep your heart and your mind open to what the end result actually is.
Yeah, definitely. And personally, my favorite part is allowing the universe become a co-creator in my dream. And I think I like being lazy on that part. Like I I love journaling. I journal and then forget about it. And the next year, when I'm checking the notebook, I see that I didn't I don't even remember most of my manifestations becoming true. And then I understand I manifested them when I am checking the notebooks actually. So I really love that, like creating an idea and forgetting about it and manifesting it in a way with the universe as co-creator in my scenario.
Absolutely. I love that feeling too, where you're like, hey, that actually came true. And even though you didn't actively work for it, it still came true. That's all about rewriting your subconscious mind and being a semi-active player, allowing the magic of the universe to take its course. It's really a beautiful thing. And it's so validating too.
Yeah, absolutely. And in astrology, in a birth chart, for example, there are two main forces, willpower and divine will. So for divine will, we are not able to do much, but for
Yes.
the willpower part, the more we experience it consciously, the stronger it becomes. So the more we practice on manifesting, the faster we start manifesting things into our lives. So it is one of the most interesting magic, according to me, at least.
I would agree.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I love that. So, shall we proceed to last and like our third question?
Yeah, kind of an advanced question, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that it will bring lots of insights to many people because this is one of the key ingredients many people miss, I believe. So, how to stay aligned with your big manifesting vision when everything seems interesting?
Yes. Yes, because the ego is multi-passionate, right? We tend to very rarely do people have like one interest and one interest only. Like we have all kinds of things that we're interested in. So the question really becomes once you start down this path a little bit, how do I know I'm staying in alignment with what I want my big goal to be, with what the big vision is, versus like that shiny object syndrome where you're like, this is a little interesting, or I've always thought this would be cool, but does it actually align? So this question comes up with people who have been at it for a little while. So it's really good to keep in mind no matter where you are in the journey. But my answer to this question is sitting with it and avoiding the impulse to act immediately. I know that's really, really hard when you're multi-passionate, but let's just say you're an author. Okay. You know, you love writing books and you have a passion for fiction and you have all this stuff. And all of a sudden you want to dive into screenplay writing, which is kind of in the same vein, but not really, right? It's totally a different world. And you're like, oh, yep, I'm just going to start doing it tomorrow. I'm going to start writing my screenplay tomorrow. That is not the best way to go about it, in my opinion, because it's pulling you away out of alignment. What you need to do instead is think about it, research it, stay in alignment with what you're already doing. And then the more you kind of sit with it and, ask your inner self, your higher self, is this really part of my plan? Is this really the next step? You'll get more of that intuitive knowing of whether or not this is actually right. Because first thought, best thought isn't always the best way to go about doing things. But at the same time, I also believe that there is that inspiration there for a reason. So maybe it's meant to show up in a different way or a different time. I think that most people have a unique way of combining all of their interests into one unique way to contribute to the world. So really, to stay in alignment with your big manifesting vision, whatever the big dream, whatever the most expressive manifesting thing that you could ever have, is by being really in tune with your own intuition and asking, does this actually align with what it is that I want to manifest? And not just like the act of doing it versus like how it would actually feel if you were to achieve that thing. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I felt like hiding at a point because I'm a moon Aries. That
Oh,
means
okay.
I'm so impulsive when something excites me. And especially moon Aries people are kind of the people when you say, okay, shall we go to a holiday in 2 months? And they already pack their luggage in mind. So, with
Yes.
all the plans ahead. So, this is one of the biggest thing that I struggled a lot in my own journey because like everything excites me a lot when they just trigger some emotions, and it is really important to understand and distinguish what is real and relevant for you and what's not. And I wish I would have met you before. I'm pretty sure it will help a lot of people tremendously in their journey because this is, as I said, from my side, from my like perspective, it is one of the key ingredients.
Yes, I definitely agree. And I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. And you know what? I have to say that I love Aries energy. Like Aries is very fiery and passionate and excited, and they can do stuff. Like when they decide that something's going to happen, it happens. And that's great. But sometimes it can pull you out, right? It can pull you out of what it is that you're actually working towards. So that's just kind of being self-aware is really important here.
Yeah.
And to use my own example, what it was like writing novels versus writing a screenplay, they're very similar, as opposed to like I have my license in teaching and I teach elementary school, and all of a sudden I think it would be cool to go into construction. Like that's not even like remotely related to each other. So that's one of the reasons why I feel like a lot of the inspiration that you have is meant to be there, and it's going to come up in some way at some point in time. Like it's going to combine somehow.
Yeah, I have a very interesting life story here because,
Yeah,
like all the time, I say, this movie, Yes Man, like
I
yes
do.
is yes. I say yes to things that I feel like it's calling me, and all the time, in years, they come together and create a understandable structure, and they help me in unexpected ways. So I totally agree with that. If there is something we really feel like we're called to, we should have tried do it or something, but without expecting an end result maybe, or just as a hobby.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we kind of live in a world where it's easy to do that sort of thing. It's easy to have a lot of hobbies, and you don't have to make money from hobbies, obviously, and they don't really have to be more than just, you fulfilling a purpose of some kind. We can explore things freely. Not everything necessarily needs to tie into like your sacred business or your sacred calling. It could just be contributing to making your energy more full. Maybe there's a lesson in there somehow. Maybe it's something your inner child always wanted to do and it's healing in that way. So there's nothing wrong with exploring things, but I do think that we need to be really mindful of our time and how we spend our time, because that's what ultimately is what keeps you in alignment with your big manifesting dreams. And that's again very similar in goal setting. Like if you have a goal to get to a certain point, you're going to spend most of your time doing things that takes you there. So it's very similar in that way. But if things get thrown off course, you can just get back on the wagon. It's not the end of the world either.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing all those
Yeah.
inspirational information, and I really appreciate for that. And before we go through the end, I want to ask you if is there any ongoing project, that upcoming projects, or any programs that you're gonna start soon in a month
Oh,
or so? Well, would you like to share if you want to? You're very welcome to.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yes, actually. So I have a new monthly membership tier, which is called the Mystic Circle. I already have a couple of other membership tiers here. Like there's one called the Marvel of Mystics that gets cool things every single week. But I'm starting a brand new one where we're going to do monthly sit downs, group coaching sessions. So maybe you've done group coaching sessions. Private sessions are just that, right? They're private, they're one-on-one, and they're amazing. But they're not always ideal for everyone in every single situation, especially if you've had a few. You don't necessarily need to deep dive every single time, but group sessions really have this special air of supporting each other and like realizing that you're not alone. And I wanted to bring more of that into my audience and into the spiritual space. So the Mystic Circle that is being launched right now as we speak is a monthly membership where you get to sign on with the group every single month for group coaching. And how my group coaching works is that each person on the call gets a 10 to 15 minute hot seat. We pull some cards for them and we get to discuss what their biggest manifesting block is currently. Other people can chime in if they'd like. And I always find that, the universe works in mysterious ways, but almost everyone is dealing with something similar. So you take a lot away from the whole group session. Right. Wouldn't expect anything less. And then we always do a big healing session together at the end as well. And the Mystic Circle members also get exclusive guided Reiki meditations every single week. So I create a guided meditation, I infuse it with Reiki and crystal healing, and then you can play it and download it whenever you want and listen to it and receive healing at your leisure. And there's also monthly tarot readings as well. So in addition to being able to sit face to face of talking to each other and getting that coaching, you also get a personalized tarot card reading every single month too. So that is the Mystic Circle. I'm really excited about it. It's been in my heart for a while. So this is a really good example of I was thinking about it for a long time and I was kind of thinking about the logistics of it. And is it something people would even want? Is it something that I even want? And then I finally decided that it was time because it was in alignment. So I did that whole process and now it's working out and it's going great so far. And I'm really excited to host our very first group coaching session here next week. But there's going to be ones every month, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So I wish you good luck. It sounds amazing.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
Anyone interested they can reach you out through Instagram or your website. How they should contact you?
Yep. So you can find everything at spirituallyinspired.co. Spirituallyinspired.co. If you specifically want to go to the membership area, it's spirituallyinspired.co/membership. I have all kinds of cool things on my website. You can also find the Spiritually Inspired podcast as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know that you're going to share a freebie with our audience. So I'm also curious about it. Would you like to share a little bit about it?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, if you're not quite ready for that level of commitment to your own spiritual journey, if you're just kind of working on manifesting on purpose and manifesting more mindfully, I do have a free manifesting bundle that has all the things you could ever possibly want. Again, spirituallyinspired.co/manifesting. Within that bundle is a 60-minute masterclass called How to Use the Law of Attraction the Right Way, because there is a wrong way. It's also a little bit of a catchy title, so I thought that was fitting. And there's also an ebook and an audiobook that I recorded myself called Practical Manifesting the Law of Attraction in Everyday Life. And there's also a 30-day workbook that takes you through the 4 phases of manifesting, which is pretty amazing. So you can get that whole bundle for free, spirituallyinspired.co/manifesting.
Oh my God, it's so generous of you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we thank you. And as you know, guys, you can find the link in the show notes as usual. And before we wrap it up here, any final sharings you would like to add?
Any final words? I would like everyone to know that it's never too late to change. And it's never too late to make your dreams come true. Because often when people are talking about fulfilling their dreams or their goals, they'll be like, oh, I want to do this, but this. I've always wanted to do this, but that. And then you try to press them on it a little bit. And there's always a but. There's always an excuse. There's always a reason why that doesn't work for them or doesn't apply to them for whatever reason. Those are not valid 99% of the time. And it's never too late to actually go after what you want. If you truly want it, and if it's truly aligned and divine will wants it for you too, it's going to happen. So never assume that the time has passed or that it won't work or that you can't do it or that it's impractical or whatever reason. You can always make it happen if you really want it.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's just the exact thing that I shared in my yesterday's reel.
Yes, I love it.
Great. And I love that resonance between people and I when we speak together, come together, as sharing the same things and values. It's really amazing. Thank you, Sarah, for all those generous gifts and information that you shared with us today. And guys, as you always know, I share all the contact info and freebies in the show notes. And as I always say, may joy be with you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.